DBZ. That was actually one of the funnest DBZ.
That's my favorite DBZ of the year, definitely.
Yeah, that was really cool. I liked how the games were different. We really saw a lot of top-tier play from both those guys.
Variety in a mirror match? What on earth, man? Yes, absolutely.
Classic is the only Protoss in this group. He's the only player who's not a Zerg. He's only had one matchup to practice for, but you've got three very, very good, but also very different Zergs. And we were talking about this on the break, Rapid, but you were saying you think right now Rogue's got the best understanding of ZVP in the world.
I think Rogue's got it figured out. Thanks in part to this guy. Classic innovated a mass Oracle, 3-base, 3 Stargate Oracle. It was really like the standard improvement of the Has strategy for Mass Oracle, but he innovated that. He killed everyone on ladder, and it was like, wait, we should figure this out. So Rogue, really the innovator of how to beat that. In fact, a couple of weeks ago in the Ballistics Brawl online tournament, they met in like the semifinals or quarterfinals, and Rogue 3-0'd him. Every game, Classic tried over and over again this Mass Oracle strat, and Rogue bopped him over and over again. So, gotta say, I'm favoring Rogue here tonight. I'm not just that, you know, Artosis hipster trying to find a new favorite player, but I just think Rogue is in a great place right now, specifically in this matchup. You look at his win rate right now, 70% against Protoss.
You know, I do wonder what Classic's going to do here, because one thing about Rogue is he seems to find that opening where they're weak.
Yeah.
Or that I'm sure you should say that window
definitely.
in the game, and then he just gets in there and completely knocks him into game 2 or game 3 or the loser's match, depending on what phase of the GSL he's in. We're going to start this off on Abyssal Reef. Classic, although he has the advantage of having only one matchup to practice for, he also is at the disadvantage of the other Zergs are going to be studying him all day today, so he better be able to do the full range of PvZ play, or these very adaptive Zergs are going to overcome him. Our game has now loaded up. This is game number 1, Classic versus Rogue.
2017 Hot 6, GSL Season 3, Code S.
Proxy in the upper left, in the blue, he is
Classic.
I'm sorry, he's not Proxy. There's
no, he's
the
not
pylon down there. I got mistimed. I'm like, wait a minute. We had the game loaded up a little bit before we had the camera zoom in on him. So he is going to send his probe down to the bottom right, where he'll find his opponent in the red. He is
Jin-Air Green Wings, Rogue.
No, I don't follow you at all, because the standard Protoss strategy, even versus Terran, is you just send out a very early probe, and that's just to be annoying and block the expansion.
Well, also, I just got back from San Francisco doing the remastered tournament, so initially whenever I'd see it work on the map, I'm like, aha, he's doing something crazy, and then I'm like, no, he's not. What am I talking about? He's gonna, as you were saying, block the hatch with a in this case a pylon, not just the probe, and send this probe in here now.
Yeah, I mean, Rogue kind of understanding that. It was a little bit late to send the drone down there, so he'll just take his natural at the 3rd base. And Classic should actually move down there and scout it out. He's kind of confused right now. He's like, okay, well, maybe I thought I was going to delay that more, but he will find the expansion at the 3rd base.
So the Nexus is coming down now. Cybernetics Core is just now starting. Rogue's not in a bad position, just an uncomfortable and annoying one. But this is not, out of the norm here for Protosses to do. You can leverage and abuse the Zerg, since they do need to get hashes up early. With a strat like this, you're dictating to some extent the rhythm and rate at which creep comes out, how easy or hard it is to transfer workers.
It's harder to connect these bases by creep.
Exactly.
So, just a little bit of an advantage. Sometimes Protoss, who wants to do an aggressive strategy, will force the Zerg to make their expansion at the 3rd base, because it's easier to harass like that. Now, for Classic, just because he is so closely tied to the Stargate, I would still expect him to try for a Stargate, and indeed there it is right on your screen. But lately he has been having to mix things up, because when you have a player like Rogue who just hard counters his mass Oracle strategy, he's been mixing it up and going for a lot of Phoenixes, and even sometimes committing to a Fleet Bacon to get that.
What, a Fleet Bacon?
It's delicious, man.
I heard that.
Goes well with lettuce and tomato,
Fleet
too.
Bacon.
Yeah, and to get the Andean Pulse Crystal upgrade, because he still likes playing with this air toss style. It's really been what we closely identify Classic with in all matchups, but still has some figuring out, some retooling to do on that build versus Zergs. especially Rogue.
So the Adepts are coming out now as the Stargate finishes. Let's see how many Oracles he gets. I thought some of this mass Oracle play was just hilarious and awesome.
Oh, it really is.
You know, I'm gonna say this, and people are gonna roll their eyes, but I was messing around with this, getting mass Oracles and trying to blindside people with them. And I had like a little bit of success with it, but I thought, nah, but you know what's funny about it is that I guess if you get a certain meta that's cemented in a way, and then you do something like this later on, it could completely throw people off. Now I don't know if he's going to do it this game, but it's definitely something worth keeping your eye out for.
Right, and so, okay, first Oracle on the way, and yeah, here's the Phoenix following this up. You get the one Phoenix, you get the Oracle first because its time value decreases. You want it to get out there before there's a whole lot to stop it, but Rogue is just perfectly prepared. 2 Spore Crawlers already up, tanking his third base behind this as well. And I want to see Classic continue with the Phoenix production. It's what he's shown that he wants to do, but this is primarily for scouting. Gonna get in, get out.
Yep, he'll see that there's nothing mining just yet over here. Oh, good catch. Oh,
wow, that was
spoke too soon.
No, wow, Classic just got completely wrecked by that timing there. Because Oracles deal spell damage, they're really good at killing off larvae and eggs, which have high armor, but that's not affected by spell damage. So you can go in there, but it heals the drone when it hatches from the egg, and then he was able to build the Spore Crawler. Great timing there for Rogue.
So he's got the Oracle out here, remaining on the map. The second Oracle is about to come out of that Stargate. The Phoenix is driving back these Overlords, keeping Zerg a little bit more in the dark. Of course, Ling's going to come out to check. We already have some on the map. And there's no third Oracle being made, just a second to try to come in and see if he can't get any extra damage. And I like the planting of the Stasis Ward, but it looks like Rogue is just reacting too fast.
Wow, yeah, he's just completely on top of this. Oracles are not going to be a unit that Rogue dies to. But behind this, want to point out, double Robo coming down for Classic.
Well, I think it's a cool tech switch, to be honest. We saw it was Rogue, or I'm sorry, it was Classic versus Sue, where the stasis mines were going up and slowing him down so much. And that was really cool to see, I think in part because Sue didn't have a lot of experience against it, especially not in a big match on a stage where everything's on the line. But Rogue, definitely somebody who has seen it before 1,000 times at this point in time and knows how to respond and how to deflect it with ease.
You even just look at Rogue's face. He looks like a guy who's just seen some stuff.
Yeah. Now, gates are coming down here to set up somewhat of a wall and continue to boost the production here. And we have a War Prism coming. Now, it was double Robo, so it's Observer and War Prism. Let's see if he has some kind of attack come out here. Otherwise, I would have assumed it would have been Immortals first and a War Prism later.
Okay, so Classic, we were talking about how he had done a lot of Stargate play and then needed to figure out a way to, bounce that to a different strategy. But so this is certainly different than I've seen from other Protosses do against Zerg. For Rogue, we can't just focus on Classic. For Rogue behind this, he is going for a massive burst of Hydras. I'm not sure if he plans to be aggressive with them or just use that to zone out all of these air units, but he might be thinking that Classic is going to go more air heavy than he really will be.
Well, the other thing to keep in mind is that the Hydras, they're not terrible against Immortals either. If you get to a certain point in time, now we see the Colossi tech is coming up here. You might also get Disruptors, but let's assume now it's going to be Colossi. That's going to be problematic, but the Hydras can hold their own against certain units. The Hydras are funny. As long as there's something else in the way, they can kind of be okay, but we've seen a lot of these great players come up here with big busts, especially in PvZ, and get really abusive. Yep. And Hydras are, of course, a big part of that. We'll see if we have any kind of Banelings comboed in with that. For now, it seems to be mostly drones that Rogue is focused on.
No, I definitely do like watching big busts like that, but we'll see if that's the strategy to play. Classic just expanding behind all this production, completing with the 4th base, and Rogue doing the same thing as well, also getting a macro hatch in his main. I think it's already completed, but both players coming to bear. This is kind of our no rush 20 game. We saw a little bit of harassment, but not all that much. To Oracles, to Adepts, like, okay, Classic, you get it.
It's interesting because this map was so heavily criticized for making, or early on I should say, for making bad games and being sort of unfair, and now it's turned out to be possibly one of the best maps we've ever had in StarCraft 2.
It turns out, Tasteless, that over time, the might of human ingenuity, when directed in a single direction, does in fact figure things out. It's an amazing concept.
People tend to solve stuff.
Wow.
I know everybody thinks they've solved it on the forums earlier on, but no. People tend to figure things out.
Well,
by the way, we are seeing this go to that direction of the Hydra Baneling bust.
Yeah.
We saw a bunch of Lings hatching here. There's going to be a lot of explosivity coming out of here for the Zerg. They could end up smashing and crippling Classic here. We're going to find out if he's ready. 2 Colossi on the way, but will they really get there in time? I'm not entirely sure if they will.
Oh no, look at the Hydras. Rogue just knows everything. He's so smart.
You know, I gotta fault Classic for that. I mean, that is just in a spot that you are asking for it. And now he doesn't have the option to counterattack, which means if this big attack from Rogue does well,
he has nothing to worry about.
Yeah, he could just win the game. It's that simple.
What's that? Hydra Baneling killing a Protoss, Tasteless?
Yeah, I've never seen this before. I've never seen this before.
Well, this is because Rogue's the best Zerg in the world.
Yeah.
So,
No, this is the big belly ache of Protoss right now in this matchup, is that Protoss have the ability to really smash their opponent. Now, Colossi are out, and every pair of Colossi that comes is going to be that much stronger against especially Banelings and Hydras. But we're almost to the point where Zerg's maxed out.
Yeah, and I mean, Colossi range is just about to complete. That might come in just in the nick of time against Classic. I only say that when I cast with you, Tasteless.
What do you only say?
Things happening in the nick of time.
In the nick of, yeah, I know.
It's funnier every time.
Yeah, it's too good, Rapid. It's too good. Thing is, for Classic, the threat of the Vipers is also real, right? You can build all the way up.
Oh, he's about to lose Suicide Templar. I'm so scared.
You know, if the Vipers if the Vipers harpoon the Colossi, then, you know, they've never done the kind of damage they were ideally supposed to do. We also have drops getting ready now. So force fields are coming down. Protoss does not have infinity of those, so he has to be pretty careful. This is an open area he's pushing into.
Oh, look at the concave. You can't block off everything.
Here we go.
Now, not enough force fields to stop the Baneling from rolling in up top. Great storms, though, and Classic's army is holding on for now.
Well, the Banelings were connecting mostly on those Immortals. The Hydras are still coming through, but definitely a lot more sophistication in the army here for Classic. Classic pushes forward a little bit further. Coming in now, Blink almost done, which is going to be very handy with these Stalkers. He may have enough to actually take on the Zerg.
Yeah, ultimately Classic's army does hold on there. He also has these Archons that were removed from the High Templar after using their storms, and that's enough damage to push through Rogue's army. But now here are those Vipers you were talking about, Tasteless, coming to bear, and they will be able to yank these Colossi or possibly the Archons out of position.
Now the Banelings are coming in here and wiping out some of these Zealots. The Hydras then gun down that Colossus. The Immortal should not get away in time. It looks like, wow, it barely does, in fact. And Classic's on the run, but Classic has already expanded at a better rate than the Zerg, so sometimes even though you see the Protoss retreating, you have to keep in mind who has more bases. Now, will a counterattack be enough in this case for the Zerg to maybe make it work? He's making more Lings, more Vipers, melee attack, getting another upgrade. But I'm a little bit scared here for Rogue. Surviving an attack is not enough. You need to have the economic legs to prop yourself up later on, and I feel like as long as Classic keeps it together and defends the next attack or two, he should be okay.
Well, I mean, Rogue is on 5 bases with a macro hatch, so this is the big scary timing for Protoss. When the Zerg really just has all the economy infrastructure set up, it just turns full frontal offense right into what I imagine is going to be this brand new 5th base that Classic really just wants to hold on to. Rogue has identified that and is now wrapping around to try to go in for another attack.
He might go for Broodlords later on, by the way. Most of the Protoss army is set up to fight the ground, not necessarily to fight Broodlings.
Well, yeah, with Greater Spire on the way and Corruptors coming out, that does look like the direction. And nice attempt at a Baneling drop here for Rogue. He's going to be trying those more and more as it becomes about the big fights. Sometimes you can sneak in a little bit of advantage there on the side. No, Phoenix. No, you don't get to do that.
Yeah, not today. Which is actually pretty big, by the way, just taking out even that Phoenix. If we do have the Broodlord tech come up here, you can see Archons and Immortals are coming into the game, which are great against Banelings, not great against Broodlords. But what if a push commences here from the Protoss before the Broods are able to set up a position to actually begin? Okay, now where are the Broods?
They're back at home. They're more.
They're there. They're there. Yeah. Got them. Okay, now this counterattack is kind of crazy. This actually may be actually the deciding factor, despite everything else you were saying. We were talking about a big army versus army, but he's going to take this out. All the workers, 16 workers killed, Protoss is trying to push in. I believe the Broodlord should just now finish up.
That's crazy. He's going to bust through the front door and kill everything in the natural as well. Now, at the same time, Classic is attacking, but the Broodlords have finished just in the nick of time.
And you can see here the push now coming in. The problem is, even though Protoss' army is scary, he can't really engage.
Oh, Classic, I don't know if he's making the right decisions here. All Rogue has to do is hang on, and look, he's done just that, barely saving that hatchery.
And as you can see, he comes in now, he's taking out these pylons to 9 war pins.
Okay, that's a lot of pylon overcharge, but everything in the natural will die. That includes this tech, it includes the Forge that's researching shield upgrades, and it's exactly like you said before this series, Tasteless. Rogue just finds this one timing, this one area where he can punish Classic for moving out.
You know, I think that even though I really was happy with how Classic was taking this game, Rogue just tactically is superior. That counterattack, which was only a response to seeing the army pushed out at that point in time, paid off so well that this big, scary army for Classic doesn't really matter anymore.
Should be noted, we also had a Baneling drop come in there. 57 probes going down. You look at Classic, he's just devastated. 25 workers in total, and he just will not be able to recover from that because he even lost a Nexus, which would theoretically be help him produce more of those. So, wow, Rogue just smashing through behind what was a very scary Protoss push.
Okay, we've got a very large number of Broodlords here. Now, Protoss might try to attack around this, which they can do.
Man. Look at this position for Rogue.
Yeah, this is just really good. And, it's hard. It's hard for Protoss to deal with this. In fact, there's no real way to run around this army because there's nothing to hit if you were to run around.
Still taking losses back at home that he can't deal with. Wow.
He doesn't have a cybernetics core yet, by the way. He can't actually make Stalkers for the time being.
No, he's having to remake it after it was just killed there. I think that's what Observer was showing us. And oh my god, it's just beautiful positioning here for Rogue. Now, he does have to watch out for being blinked on top of lots of storms underneath these Broodlords.
Now, the Archons are trying to come in underneath and use the splash, but it does not matter. There's just too many Broodlords. You don't have enough Storm, you don't have enough Archons, you don't have enough anything. GG.
Wow, Rogue, what a strategy over the course of time. Every time Classic tried something, Rogue was just way on top of it. Sexy boy with sexy strats, and Classic has to figure out something else.
That was really well done by Rogue, but I have to say Classic was more impressive than I thought. I know he's had some bumpy PVZs here, but this time around, I think if he handles it a little bit differently, he wasn't quite equipped for just building Hydra, counterattack. A lot of times we spend so much time, I think even the Protosses do, sometimes even the Zergs do in the games we're casting, focusing on the fact that they have a bust, that it seems like a Protoss like Classic overlooks the counterattack. Colossi, Archons, Immortals, they're not fast units.
Right.
They're not nimble and able to get anywhere, and Rogue took a very basic principle and leveraged it and did more damage to Classic despite an inferior army base than Classic could ever do with a slow, superior army base. And then the switch into Broodlords was the nail in the coffin.
It came in just in time to stop Classic from doing critical damage as well. So, great win for Rogue. Our map in game number 2 is Odyssey. So let's go ahead and get into it. Rogue, one game up on
2017 Hot 6, GSL Season 3, Code S.
All right, let's do this. In the bottom right, in the blue, the only Protoss in this group of the GSL Code S.
Classic.
Lots of cheers from the crowd, a very popular player.
In the upper left, in the red, winning game number 1.
Generic Green Wings, Rogue.
It's really interesting to see in the interview we had with the players beforehand that Rogue was actually openly very committed to winning the season. Now, of course, every player that's in the GSL Code S is committed to winning that season, but they usually don't start talking about it until they get a little bit further along, like round of 8 or round of 4, because they don't want to feel the pressure of, it sounds silly, but it is true. Announcing that you want to win a tournament, for instance, in round of 32, people can kind of roll their eyes at you.
You're getting a little ahead of
yourself.
yourself.
You're not there yet, but this time, what's he doing here?
I think he's either going to proxy or expand. This is a Nexus. This is crazy.
Okay.
Classic What are you doing?
What? Yeah, actually, what is he doing? This is really...
Yes, that is an Nexus.
This is what you normally expect to see from a Zerg player, because you can at least abuse a position. I am so confused.
Now, so we early on, I think it was the first day of SSL Challenge, we saw SOS do this, where he expanded to both gold bases, but that was a PVT, I want to say.
But that's also SOS.
Yeah, and that's the guy you expect craziness from,
right.
Protoss. For Classic, no, this guy is, he'll figure out a strategy, he'll perfect it, and then he'll execute it. You just don't associate him with this.
So I guess just using my understanding of the game, he's making this here because he can both proxy his opponent with a Stargate and have an expansion that's sort of defended.
Yeah, also because Overlords don't scout this way, but oh no, Rogue.
Now, see, but this, okay,
how do
this
you,
is, he's beating me to this, so this is why I was worried about doing a strategy like this, is that they're going to check here for a Stargate anyways, so it's not like you're any more or less sneaky.
And he recalls
that's
the probes.
cute.
That's, okay, yeah. You can't really expand. We actually saw it, so Innovation didn't know that.
It's going to be a Robo. I'm sorry, not a Stargate. Robo here.
Okay, I'm guessing he's going to do this for, I guess, close Immortal spawning, so that they get to the Zerg base really quickly.
Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, we already see a Roach Warren coming up here, although Classic doesn't know. It's reasonable to assume a Roach Warren would be coming, not to mention the fact that Immortals are sort of good against everything, maybe not that great against Lings, but overall the Immortal is sort of one of the best units in the game. It's handy against whatever it's up against. So this is going to be 3 gates, gold base. There's going to be slightly more minerals coming in here. He might be able to get a 4th gate with this. I'm not sure how this maths out. We don't really get to cast this ever here at GSL. So
certainly not.
We're going to be learning this a little bit with you guys as we watch. But the Queens are coming down now, so they're about to butt heads. This should not go on to a long game.
No, certainly not. I mean, if a Classic loses this gold base, then he is just infinity far behind. First Immortal is about halfway done, but yeah, like you said, Tasteless, these Queens coming up here, I don't know how well this is going to go. There's actually just nothing on the ground here to defend. He's going to have Pylon Overcharge, so at least that will be here in time, but will it be enough to defend?
Yeah, you know, I'm just worried that units are going to come out one by one, and this becomes very... Okay, it actually unpowers the Pylon. That, I think, is game.
Yeah, he's going to try to put up as many Pylons, but he can't build units.
Yeah, well, he could just kill off the Pylons one by one. Classic is going to lose this game. We may see him tap out right here, right now.
Yeah, this is going to be a tasteless. An interesting strategy, but Rogue just knew exactly the timing to get there, killed the Pylon, and afterwards it was just not enough. The Immortal comes out, but it will not live up to his name here as the Roaches will chase it down.
He's an unmortal there. And, you know, honestly, I almost wish we could go back in time and see how this would have worked out had the build been slightly altered where the Pylon was just a few seconds earlier.
Or unscouted, you know.
Yeah, or just anything. Well, you can't blame a player for scouting on a map like this. I mean, the odds of a proxy are just very, very high. So, now, okay, there we go. Once again, unpowered. The Immortal is not quite able to come out and pair up with the rest of the army. So it's out now. Only 2 Stalkers here to defend, and no easy escape route there. The Immortal will go down, and up next should be these Pylons. It seems like Protoss is just barely holding on. You know what? Am I speaking too soon? Does he actually just hold this?
Is Classic just the greatest player?
Well, you know, I love the fact that he tried this. It's too bad we don't get to see how it works, because, you know, he's almost holding this every time the fight goes down.
Gold bases do give you a lot of income, and there's not that much mining here, but I don't know, Tasteless. So these Stalkers are getting insane value. I wish we could tell how many kills they have, because it's just going to be a lot. It's going to kill the
odd game. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I thought that for sure, especially when we saw the Pylon go out twice, that Protoss was dead.
What is happening?
I suppose... Now, this actually makes me really want to rethink the strategy, because, you know, what's crazy about this is imagine that the initial second Pylon just gotten up and Immortals were coming out. Then I guess you hold this off no matter what, and you kill the Queens, and you go back and fry that.
The other thing is
Zerg.
A little bit interesting is, like, okay, you kill those Pylons, but, like, you send a Zergling back into Classic's main, and it's almost just game over, because what does he have there to defend? There's no Mothership Core for overcharges. You can bust that pretty easily.
Well, it seems like the strategy has holes, but it also has, It's got some secret powers to it as well.
The thing you say about this is a strategy with many pros, but also many cons.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Analysis.
Now, can he push down? He has some sentries. It's not like he's very far from the third base at all. Around here,
he's going to recall more probes over to the goal.
Well, I mean, why not, right? Let's max out and saturate those bases. But to what you were saying, Rapid, it does have many cons, and we're going to see these 8 lings drop in.
There's nothing there to defend.
Yeah, there's also only 1 pylon, which could be unpowered as well. Maybe pylon. The third base is ultimately just a meat shield to keep the second alive, and then this big attack comes in. Now, that being said, this base gets wiped out. Most of the tech and most of the pylons are actually at the gold base for Protoss.
Oh my god, 3 Immortals is 3 Immortals. There we go. Wow. It's going to be almost just game over for this third base, but I think, like you said, Tasteless, the Rogue kind of knows that it's going to be sacrificed. This Ling drop, though, is probably something that Classic did not plan for. He's going to have 4 pins back at home, but with the Ravagers breaking through this pylon, it's going to shut everything down.
Now the hatch is going to go down. The Cybernetics core is going to go down as well, making it a much... Okay, hold up. Now, all that he has to do from here is kill off the workers, which he can get basically all of them. And then, I guess, hold off this big attack. Now, he hasn't killed the probes in the main.
Those should be mining. Instead, they're not. Classic also going to be surrounded. Nice force fields actually trying to protect these Immortals. They are getting glitched a little bit around, but look at these Zerglings. They are not able to connect.
Wow. You know what? Rogue did it.
Yep,
GG.
that's it. GG.
Great game. That was a lot of fun.
Wow.
I appreciate what Classic was trying to do. Again, I wish I could go back in time and see what that strategy would have looked like had the second pylon finished and the rush happened when it was supposed to happen. Rogue's definitely somebody who can think on his feet. He definitely can read almost any situation a Protoss can throw at him and respond and come out with a win. Now we have Classic in the losers match.
Yeah, it could be a short day for him if he can't figure out how to win this matchup. Of course, the matchup I'm looking forward to is going to be the winner's match. Rogue versus Sue, a very cerebral matchup. Both of these guys are brain zergs, so we'll get a chance to see that when we come back, guys. It's going to be a lot of Zerg today, but maybe not a lot of Protoss if Classic isn't able to figure things out. Be right back with Sue versus Rogue.